We're live.
What's up, fellas? We are live for Pick Central on the Barstool Sportsbook YouTube channel. I am your host, Ben Mintz. One of those Fridays, a lot of people with a lot of commitments today, so I'm the one-man gang as far as our usual Pick Central crew. But hey, I'll admit this, time for me to step up. I've definitely probably been to like 3 or 4 of these shows in the last 3 or 4 weeks because I've been on the road. So my turn, and I want to thank Tommy Smokes for joining me at the start. Hubs is going to join us in a second. We've got Kelly in Vegas on the phone line at 12:15, and as always, TJ and our all-star crew running the ship. Bunch of stuff to get to today: Masters, NBA playoffs taking shape, and MLB opening day, and that's what we'll start here with Tommy. I know it's because the delay because of the strike stuff, but Yankees and Red Sox on opening day, has this ever happened before? I don't remember this being a thing.
I know it happened in like 05 or something like that, but it doesn't happen too often. And it wasn't supposed to be, like you said, because of the strike. But yeah, I mean, it's good to have baseball back. I'm a little not as excited as I was maybe an hour ago just because of all this Aaron Judge extension, non-extension news. But you know, it's good to have baseball back still. I'm still going to be excited to see them play and see Garrett Cole on the mound, see Judge Stanton and everyone in pinstripes.
Yeah, so what is and then we're now joined by Hubs, who one of the editors of the blog and Short Porch. Does a hell of a job here. Sits right across from me, too, and we have not ever had any problems. So that's not yet. That's true. That's true. How are you today, Hubs?
I wish they got a Judge extension done. I'll say that. Pumped for opening day. The lineup is not what I wanted. I don't think there's great juju right now with the fucking Judge failed extension talks going into a big fucking opening day against the Sox. But the weather's nice, which is good. I feel like yesterday was so fucking miserable. If they had opening day yesterday, that would have sucked. But I'm pumped. I hope Cole fucking shoves.
All right, let's touch on the Aaron Judge extension stuff because I saw y'all tweeting about that. So they were trying to get something worked out before the season started. Was there like a deadline on it? What's going on?
Judge set an opening day, like first pitch opening day. Deadline. This is his final year on this is his final year of arbitration. I think he's gonna make like around $17 million. And ideally, you like lock the guy up before he enters free agency or entertains it. And I think their final offer was 7 for like 210 overall. With the final year of ARB, it came to like 8-230. Couldn't get it done. Judge wants 10 years. It's pretty obvious. I feel like
that's insane.
Yeah, players are always going to want the years.
Yeah, it's crazy in baseball. Obviously, the players have so much more power than they do in NFL with the contracts. They're starting to become more guaranteed now. But, man, if you're an owner, those 10-year deals, when do those end up being a good move? I mean, I guess it makes sense. You know, now people are getting them front-loaded because the players have the arbitration through the 6 years, and so you give it to them in their 4th year.
A-Rod's first big one.
The one for the Rangers,
was,
the 10 and
was fantastic.
He was also like 25 when he signed it.
Different. No, I'm just talking about 10-year extension. Usually they don't work out, but I'm like A-Rod's first one was really good. Had no problem with that. Won up several MVPs, the World Series, like.
Yeah, I was signed with the Rangers, but still with the Yankees.
Right.
Put up those numbers.
They took it on though.
Yeah.
The thing is, my thing on it, it makes sense now. So now we're seeing these teams lock down their younger stars. You know, we saw Atlanta do it with a couple of their guys, where you go ahead and give them money in their like 4th year. So they get money those first few years when they would have smaller salaries before they're free agents. And so that seems like
with Cabrian Hayes.
See, I don't hate that because you're getting these guys when they're 23 and you sign them until they're 33. It's when they come off the arbitration and they're 6-7 years in and you're giving 28-year-olds 10-year deals.
So here's the thing. Judge is such an interesting case study with like a contract extension. He's 30. He's had two of his 4 full seasons. He played less than 115 games. When he's on the field, he's a perennial MVP candidate. So it's like, what do you do? And he's 30. He's an outfielder. You got to think maybe at some point he's moving to first base, DH, but then you have Stanton there. So it's interesting. How much you pay a guy, how many years, whatever. The players are always going to want the years. I agree with Tommy, you already said, like, that deal is completely fair.
Yeah.
The only part I'll go back, I hate how they kind of put off these extension talks for as long as they did. That's where I think the Yankees are at fault. They kind of just started these up, a month ago, where, and you know, obviously you don't get Seager or Simmons. You don't even entertain those talks. And then you don't get this done. I feel like that sucks.
I truly blame both sides equally.
Yes,
I feel like 7 years, $213 million is a very fair offer. If you're Aaron Judge, you're 30 years old, you have an injury history, you're talking about, I want to be a Yankee for life, sign the deal. Like $213 million, that's nothing to scoff at. But I also think it's embarrassing for the Yankees to miss out on every top free agent this offseason, not even give an offer really, and then not extend their own guy. And to call a press conference with an hour and a half until first pitch and be like, hey, here's what we offered them. And like, doesn't this kind of make them look cheap for not accepting it? And then you have like half the fan base calling Aaron Judge greedy, half the fan base calling the front office cheap. It's like, don't do that an hour before opening.
Cashman releasing the exact numbers is such like a Cashman move where he's trying to turn everyone against Judge, and it's kind of working. Like. So yeah, it's just bad juju. He's gonna go out. It's a weird, like imagine he signed that deal, and like let's say they made him captain or whatever, and he just ran out to right field. It'd be fucking sick. It'd be like, holy shit, we're gonna win the world. Now it's like there's a weird vibe. I feel like I don't love that.
I saw one tweet that was like, imagine if Judge gets named captain, like as they're introducing the opening day lineups or something after an extension. That would have
been awesome. Like that's when they reveal it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no.
Not the case. But pumped for opening day. I loved yesterday. I love having baseball back. I felt alive again. I watched legitimately every single game. I'm excited.
I want to ask, so the Yankees, when you look at the AL East this year, I saw the Yankees over-under on the Barstool Sports book was 91.5 games.
Sounds about right.
Okay. The thing is, I mean, you can win 90 games and be a really good team, but this damn division with the Red Sox, Rays, and Jays who are on the way up is just so tough. Other than the Orioles, there's nobody that's really weak.
91, 93 gets you a wild card spot. The Blue Jays are going to most likely win around 98 games, I would think.
So the Blue Jays are who you like the most?
I think the Rays, Red Sox, and Yankees are playing for the top wild card spots. I don't think.
I don't know. I would probably predict too, if I had even money on everyone, Blue Jays to win the division. But I don't know. I think everybody's overhyping the Blue Jays almost a little.
Their run differential last year was like 180, which I think was third best in the AL. And they I know you don't like the nerds, Tommy, but statistically they should have won about 8 to 9 more games than they did. They just kind of got unlucky.
Young team probably I know that's not an analytic thing, but like a young team learning how to win is like a thing.
Yeah. It's
a real thing.
They had 2017 Yankee vibes last year, I feel like, minus obviously the playoff run. They improved their rotation, bringing in Gausman and Kikuchi. They lost Robbie Ray, but overall the rotation looks good. You got a full year now of Barrios. You bring in you do lose Simeon, which he was like their highest WAR player. Like that's a big deal. But you bring in...
And they lost Robbie Ray, who, like, even though I don't think he's...
felt like he was the weakest Cy Young winner.
I can see him...
But they did literally lose the Cy Young winner.
But they did get a guy... Gausman was top 3 in the NL. Yeah. Granted, Gausman has a history in the AL East of just getting rocked. So we'll see.
The Giants' park is such a good pitcher's park, too. I don't know.
Yeah, the Giants are just a fucking very well-run team at the end of the day. They have a great rotation. Their rotation could be the best in baseball over there. But, I don't know. We'll see. I think it also sucks... You have to talk about the unvaccinated. I also, what I was wondering is if they were forcing a vaccination clause in the contract. That is something that
is very possible
in my brain.
Is he unvaxxed?
I don't want to speculate.
Fair enough.
It seems
not confirmed that
he is definitely not vaccinated.
Yeah.
I'll speculate. There's no way he's vaccinated because if you ask someone if they're vaccinated and they don't say yes, they're not vaccinated. Like that.
And we'll know for sure first week of May when the Yankees go to Toronto, whatever. That also gives Toronto an advantage. You have to be vaccinated to go to Canada. Red Sox and Yankees player like Chris Sale's not vaccinated. Like he's openly about that. I feel like so that hurts. 10 games in Toronto without Judge would be that would hurt their chances of winning those games.
Well, I got y'all here. I kind of want to run around the league a little bit, not just AL East. So when I look at the AL Central, obviously the White Sox are the extremely heavy favorite.
Tigers can give them fits.
I was gonna say I'm on over 78.5 wins on the Tigers this year.
I disagree. The Tigers are not going to contend for the division. I feel like
I didn't say that. I said give them fits. I said when they play, the Tigers.
I feel like the Tigers could come in 4th place.
No, I think they're a second place.
I think the Twins are better. I think the Royals
second half last year were good and they improved.
I don't know. I think the Royals are going to have a sneaky good year.
They look. I mean, Bobby.
That was the two I was looking at, were the Tigers and the
Royals have a good 1 through 4.
Yeah, they could. They play a lot of overs. They're kind of like over.
Merrifield, Witt Jr., Benny, and Perez are very good 1, 2, 3, 4 in the order. After that, it's kind of so-so, and they're pitching so-so. Like Zach Greinke's their ace.
I can't believe we're full circle and Greinke's back in KC.
Yeah.
That's talk about. I mean, he came up there. I mean, what was that? 12 years ago when he left, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had his first really. He sucked.
Well.
He was horrible. Like, remember his first couple of years in the league, and then he had one great year. And
he looked good yesterday.
Really
I watched that. I watched that. I was watching off the Guardians feed. If we were we were Guardians fans watching off that feed, we would have had an aneurysm. They would show the runner leading off first, while the batter was just like taking pitches. Like pitches would happen and they just didn't show them. There was like a line out to short with like men on that they showed like just going to his glove at the last second. It was crazy what the Guardians feed was doing.
I want to just touch on that. So ALS feels like one of the most wide open divisions. I mean,
Definitely.
I guess the Astros are the favorite.
They took a step back.
Even though Correa left, which did not help them.
And yeah.
And the A's, we saw the A's had one of their things where all their guys' contracts were about to be up, so they traded off.
They're trying to pay $0 to people.
Yeah, they're doing their thing where they like built it up and now they're having to rebuild it. A lot of people like the Mariners. The Angels thing, you always think they're going to be like a playoff team because they have Trout and Ohtani, and then they never do anything.
Like what happened last night? Otani's on the mound. He's leading off. They have all this. They score 1 run in the game.
Yeah.
Like,
no, the Angels are
classic.
perennial, just like, oh, they're going to.
Do they have like a farm system at all? Like I just feel like they never.
Joe Adele is like one of their top prospects, and he's up with the team now. So like he was
I
one
just
of.
feel like you think star power, like you just surround these guys with like a couple of people.
I think most of their talent's there if it's not already.
Who do you like in the West then?
I like the Mariners. I know they're like a sexy pick, and it feels like it's gonna fuck me. But that Mariners lineup, I like what they added with Adam Frazier before the lockout, Winker, Suarez. There might have been one. Oh, and then they're calling up Julio Rodriguez, who's a fucking star in the making. They're loaded. That Mariners team is gonna be a fun team to bet on. Like if you're like slipping into bed, you have like MLB TV on, you throw the Mariners on late. They're like a small home dog. Take them every time.
They're tough. They always are historically pretty good at Safeco too.
Yeah, and then Robbie Ray. I mean, I'm not very high on him. I would be stunned if he has a Cy Young year again, but he's still like an improvement to the
He
rotation.
should do well in that park. That's Safeco's a lot better pitcher for park too.
So yeah, I'm in on the Mariners. Down. I'm never gonna have faith in the Angels, and yeah, the Stros are gonna be there for sure. You still have Bregman, Altuve, Jordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker.
Verlander back.
What?
In the rotation.
Verlander, but we'll see what he's like. He had a good spring. He looked good. You can't count them out, but they definitely took a step back. Like their shortstop now, Pena is just a defensive like wizard. He's not like a Correa bat, So they're gonna. There's an offensive regression happening there.
Okay, running through the NL real quick because we got to talk for a few more minutes. NL East, obviously, Braves won it all last year. Didn't have Acuna or Soroka.
Insane.
Get both back.
Ozuna.
Or Zuna.
He's back.
Obviously, Freeman's gone, but they got Olsen, so you got your replacement.
Almost an upgrade.
Yeah, and younger. No, and they locked him up.
In the immediate, not an upgrade, but like you'd rather lock up, I feel like, Olsen at this point in their careers than Freeman.
My team out of the NL East, and I put a future in them to win the World Series the other day. The Phillies. I love the Phillies.
Okay, Smitty we had a big talk with that. They hadn't made the playoffs since 2011.
Yeah, they have the longest.
It's insane.
Longest streak in the NL.
Yeah.
I think their lineup obviously is
Filthy.
awesome, like just maybe the best in baseball. But even their rotation, Nola hasn't been the same, but like he could regress back normally. Wheeler was really good last year. He probably won't be that good, but he's solid. Suarez is like filthy, and Kyle Gibson is not a bad 4-star.
Their bullpen is what takes them down.
They signed Nebel, right?
Yeah, they also signed Brad Hand and Jerry's Familia. I don't know if those guys even improve. They make it somehow worse. That bullpen will always be the death of them. I feel like you see a Smitty tweet every other day about, during the season, like how they just blew a 5-run lead inexplicably in the 9th inning. On paper, no question about it, they should be in the playoffs. No, like I love what they did offensively to add like Castellanos and Schwarber. That's the offseason I wanted. Like that's not like a sexy offseason, but that's a big upgrade, I feel like.
Looking around the rest of it, well, obviously the Mets already have just mass injuries on their pitching staff. I mean, they were all but going a bullpen game on opening day.
Mego pitched well, though, Tyler. I don't, like I said, I hate the Mets, but they should be a wild card team still. Okay. Well, and if DeGrom misses the year, then no, but then we'll see when he comes back. They need DeGrom back to do anything. I still think they can get Max Scherzer, so they can figure it out.
Okay.
I'll always look at the Mets as a cursed team. So they're in the playoff. I'll believe they're in the playoffs when I see it happen.
Running around the rest, NL Central this year. I mean, it seemed like the Cardinals closed real strong last year. I know it's opening day and the Pirates
fired their manager.
That was odd. They won 9-0. Really big. Reds have gotten better. It seemed like they had a big win. I mean,
Reds lost a lot.
Yeah, they lost.
Reds
They lost Frazier too. Yeah,
the Reds took a step back. The Reds are not trying to win baseball games. They did win yesterday. I don't see that being.
Are the Brewers the favorite in that division then?
The Brewers are, but they go as far to me. Like they'll win the division, I think, just because their rotation is probably the best in baseball. But Yelich, like, what are you doing, pal? 2018, 2019, you're an MVP. You're an MVP front runner. Last 2 years, just an average to below average hitter. Yesterday he looked lost too. Struck out in the ninth inning, I think, with a man on. I don't know. They go as far as him, in my opinion. There will be a playoff team no matter what, but he needs to go back to being like an all-star MVP to give them like a real to make me feel like they have a chance to win the World Series.
All right, last but not least, NL West, certainly not least, loaded division. I mean, I just can't get over how many games the Giants won last year, and then they get knocked out in that 3 out of 5.
No respect from Vegas. 86.5, I want to say, was their over-under this year. Is going in.
After they won, 110 last year?
No, they didn't win 110.
It was,
won the division.
I mean, it was like 105. I mean, they won a lot.
Yeah, they won the division. Every game, I feel like everyone was like, "Oh, it's got to end now. They got to come back to earth now." And they just didn't. They went wire to wire. They add Carlos Rodon. That rotation is rock solid. I love Logan Webb. They lose Chris Bryant though. They are bringing up Joey Bart. He's like the new catcher. He's their top prospect, the heir to Buster Posey. See what they do there. But the Giants, they're probably wildcard team. The Dodgers, what's their 98.5 is like their over-under? That's such a high Vegas over-under to start a year. But like it's well-deserved because that team's absurd.
It's just wild that you can go, 97 and 65.
Yeah,
go 32 over and still not hit your over.
Yeah, and you saw
that's wild.
Padres, too. On paper, they look great. Obviously, missing Tatis for a few months.
What do you think all that?
Well, their bullpen, probably shouldn't be riding a motorcycle. But he's young and he makes mistakes, sure. But their bullpen is a mess. They did trade for Taylor Rogers yesterday. You saw what happened last night. They blew that save in maybe like 90 seconds. They were up 2 and then lost by 2. It was insane. But back to the Dodgers.
Could be a second-place team, the Padres. The Padres are like a post-type sleeper where the one year everybody's like, this is their year, and they're not that good. Like, they could bounce back the next year.
Sure.
Granted,
and they were like America's sweetheart going into last year, and nobody was on the Giants at all. And
I feel like it could flip this year.
The one thing I have to say about the West, the Dodgers, everyone obviously picking them to win the division, and rightfully so. That lineup.
They've won it, 8-9 years in a row now?
No, Giants won it last year.
I'm sorry.
But before,
it felt like because they won that playoff series, my brain.
They did win the playoff series.
They've probably been in the playoffs that many years in a row. They've probably been in the playoffs.
Yeah. But I will say, you look at the starting rotation. The lineup's unbelievable. One of the best I've ever seen. Starting rotation. Bueller's bona fide ace, right? But Kershaw's your 2.
Can he get through a season?
How many more?
How much?
And then from there, it's what? Gonsolin, Urias, and Andrew Haney is in the rotation, I believe.
Yeah.
Without Bauer, and we don't know what's going on there. He's still on administrative leave. If the suspension gets lifted, if the Dodgers even want him back, if they find something in his contract to get him out there. But without Bauer, that team is a lot more weaker than I anticipated. That rotation.
No Scherzer, obviously.
Right. Like Kershaw being your 2, and he's old. Like, is he 40 yet? He's around 40?
No, he's probably like 35.
Right. So I'm saying, like, lineup will win them many games. I'm just saying in the playoffs, I don't know if that's good enough playoff. If Bauer's there, Bauer's fantastic. But
you also can't count them out adding some ace at the
definitely
deadline.
Not. Yeah. Sure not. Never. They can always add more to the payroll.
Castillo.
But I'm just saying, as it is right now, the rotation is weaker than, like, I think people think.
Finally, last thing, who y'all got? I have to ask people. The chat boys want to know y'all's World Series picks.
I mean, I'm going bold because why not go bold? I'll go Phillies over White Sox.
Ooh, that is bold. Let's see what I'm curious to see what kind of odds.
They're 2,500. I got them the other day. The Phillies.
Pretty good price.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Blue Jays. I mean, I'm not picking with my heart. I'm gonna say the Yankees every time.
No, obviously.
Once first pitch happens, I'm gonna have this false confidence. If they fucking score first, I'm gonna go nuts. But with my brain, and especially with that COVID shit, because I think that's gonna help them win the division by not having those good, better players come up there. If the rules don't change, I'm gonna go Blue Jays over the Dodgers.
Okay, Blue Jays over Dodgers. Short Porch, what's going on, guys? I know y'all getting ready, but opening day here.
Yeah, we got an exclusive on the Barstool Sports book today. Bet with the Short Porch, Judge and Giancarlo to get hits, and the Yankees to win, boosted to plus 210.
All right, and then so during the season, what do y'all do, 2 or 3 a week?
We do 2, Monday and Thursday. And, like, if there's immediate shit, we'll always do, if they make a trade or there's a crazy injury or whatever. Or
we'll do an episode after today's game for the Judge extension and opening day.
Awesome. Well, check out Short Porch every Monday and Thursday. Tommy Hubbs, appreciate y'all. Also, shout out Tommy. He wrote the Team Portnoy release for Hogs last week. got a lot of fun feedback.
Anybody could have wrote that.
Yeah, but especially on the me having sex with thousands of women. I think
is that not true, Mincy?
It's not. I wish I could say it was true, but it's not, unfortunately.
Millions?
Millions. Yeah, there were a few, but not thousands. It's a little. I'm no Wilt Chamberlain, but maybe in my next lifetime. Appreciate you guys and keep up the good work with Short Porch. And
Thanks,
love the baseball knowledge. I feel extremely knowledgeable.
Thanks for having
Special guest on the line.
Yeah,
Mincy.
Kelly in Vegas on the line. I'm a couple minutes late on her. I appreciate Short Porch guys for joining us. Kelly, what's up? How are you doing on this Friday?
Hey, life is really good. Just hanging out, about to go do some fishing. It seems very funny that every single time you ask me to come on Pick Central, I'm about to get on a boat.
That seems like you've got a good life going there. You're down. I know you're in Florida, living the good life here in springtime. So I can't say that sounds bad. A few things to get into with you today. I saw you had some Masters picks. Who are you on, and what are you thinking about? What's going on so far?
Oh, the Masters. Let me just tell you, the best and worst thing is being friends with certain athletes, right? Like, I love being friends with coaches. I love getting good inside information. But sometimes when there's a sport that I don't know a ton about, golf, is a good example for today. I text a couple of my buddies that used to be on tour. I text a couple of caddy guys, and every single one of them loved Justin Thomas this week. And I'm looking at his recent form going, you know what? He hasn't been playing so hot. Sure enough, I put in a bet over him, over Rahm. Now, Rahm doesn't look great. He was the odds-on favorite. But, man, I think Justin Thomas might be, so far, the biggest disappointment of the Masters, and that's my fault. You know, these guys that know the sport so well, whether it's college basketball, whether it's NFL, it's always crazy to me how bad they are at gambling. I think there's a definite direct correlation there. Maybe their eye test inhibits their math test just a little bit, because I took the bait on JT, and I'm afraid that's a dead-on loser. I also bet against the number one guy in the world because I'm a complete contrarian asshole that way, and that came back to give me an 0-2 to start the day. So it was a interesting first day. We'll see how the rest of it ends up panning out. One of my bigger bets is Bryson to miss the cut. He was +4 yesterday and 70, and they're saying the cut mark's going to be around 50. So I'm hoping I get to cash that ticket by the end of the day.
Well, my question, so I kind of take some of that same contrarian logic. Like, I thought some of these younger guys that have been winning lately, their odds were like people were on them, and so I went contrarian on them a little bit too. Cameron Smith so far making me pay on that after he won the PGA Championship, and he got second in the Masters last year, and he's an extremely good putter. You know, he looks good, but I kind of thought your logic too, though. When I was looking at it, I thought a lot of these young guys were overhyped, and so I looked for the value, and I actually went Brooks Koepka 16-1 because of how good he usually is in majors, and he's not hurt right now, and I thought people were sleeping on him, and then that blew up in my face, so I feel your pain. He was 2 under at one point yesterday, couldn't make a putt to save his life, and finished at 3 over. But I kind of tried to do the same thing as you on like the contrarian, finding the value, because you never want to be on the people everybody are on, I don't think.
You don't. It's the same thing as far as any sport goes, right? Like, you don't want to be on the team that everybody's on. You also can't just go blindly stating that logic either. And I thought, you know, hey, these guys are all really smart. They play golf with this guy week in and week out. They're telling me that, you know, this is his time. He's on a mission. Yeah. Will Zalatoris, though, shout out to him. He's definitely helping me save some face. I bet him even money at the Barstool Sportsbook to place in the top 20. He's off to another hot start this tournament. Let's hope he can keep up that momentum through the weekend. And then I did fade Tiger Woods yesterday, and I got a lot of grief for it on Money Shots in the comment section. I got a lot of grief for it on Twitter. And I kind of went opposite of what Banks thought was going to happen, and that was maybe he would fade out towards the end of the weekend. And I thought, you know, maybe he was going to be off to a slow start. I was wrong. So as I mentioned, I need a good couple of days just to break even here. But hey, it's the Masters. I wanted to put out some picks. I wanted to practice some of my golf handicapping. And you know what? I feel like I should just stick to college football.
No, I hear you, but you know how the Barstool world is. We whatever's relevant, we got to have an opinion on. So I feel your pain on that. My Masters, I went Dustin Johnson, who looks good, obviously. And then I have Brooks Koepka and Sam Burns. And I told you, we kind of talked about Sam on Twitter. He's now 6 over through 8 and not looking like he's going to make the cut. It's what happens when you take a homer pick, even though he's off to a great start in his career. Looks like he's having a little bit of a learning experience his first time at Augusta. So what else in the sports world? I know obviously you watch the Final Four National Championship. You're not too big in MLB. Like, what do you follow this time of year? Do you follow the NFL draft coverage?
I would love to follow the draft coverage, but I try not to let any of these things inhibit what I'm doing as far as the handicapping perspective. I put out on Twitter a couple of weeks ago that there were a few opening lines for the regular season win totals at the Barstool Sports for these NFL teams that kind of caught my eye. But I don't like to make these wagers until after the draft, until after free agency. And frankly, usually in July when we start seeing, practices come full circle, everybody's in pads. Unfortunately, guys get hurt. Unfortunately, bad things happen in the offseason. And we see a ton of late trades. And so to me, I kind of got a little, I understand wanting to be ahead of the market, but I kind of got to remind myself, hey, listen, there's no reason to lock up your money for another 300 days unless you have every ounce of information that you can get. So at this point in time, I'm kind of hanging tight on NFL, keeping an eye on college football. Obviously, even in college basketball, kids are already entering the transfer portal, which is nuts. So just kind of keeping up on that information more than anything. I'll watch the draft because it's always exciting. But to me, it doesn't really affect what I'm trying to do unless you can find an interesting wager. But my draft wagering after last year kind of went a little sideways when the Chiefs decided not to draft a running back. I had over 2.5 running backs in the first round. That wasn't fun for me. And then I was looking at some NBA. I was starting to put out some NBA picks. But at the playoffs start on Tuesday, right?
It's hard to pick. Now, I've been trying to do daily picks, and it's just all the tanking stuff, and you don't know, people scratch their nose and decide not to play that night. It's kind of tough.
Exactly. And so there's Fantasy Labs NBA. They also have all sorts of other sports, but I follow them for a few injury updates. I mean, they're dropping starting 5 players 7 minutes before a game tips off, right? So I've got to guess who's going to be playing, who's going to be playing 100%. You mentioned tanking teams. You mentioned teams that are already in and locked at the top spot. So we're seeing star players not want to get involved. There's just so many things up until the playoffs as of right now, unless I was to get ahead of that information, if I was to get a text that said, hey, 100% Kyrie isn't playing tonight, and I'm getting 8.5 with the Cavaliers, I know the line's going to close 6 because of that information, then maybe I would try to take advantage of it. But without that, I don't really see the point in trying to just guess, for a lack of better words, who's playing, who actually cares. I mean, Tuesday's right around the corner. The NBA playoffs are always a beast. And so I'm excited for them, and I'm going to be cranking out a ton of plays then. But as of right now, just kind of hanging tight.
Question, I've got one and another. I mean, if anyone's all about homer picks, it's certainly this guy. Pelicans are plus 350 right now to make the playoffs. It looks like they're already locked into the play-in game against the Spurs. Last night, Pels won. I believe Spurs, they were losing late. I didn't see the final, but I think they lost. If that game ends up in New Orleans, the Pelicans would have to beat the Spurs and then beat the loser of what looks like T-Wolves Clippers on the road. Is plus 350 a good enough price here, or am I just doing the homer thing?
That's interesting, though. The Spurs did lose last night, and if you can get plus 350, and if you think that the Pels are going to have home court advantage,
I think they will in that first one. And going to say, even though the Spurs aren't that good this year, San Antonio is always an awful place to have to go win on the road. So I think it's very important to have that in New Orleans. And then when I look at the team right now, C.J. McCollum has lit a fire under this team. That trade has been awesome. He's embraced New Orleans. They got role players that have really bought in, and Herb Jones, Valanciunas, Brandon Ingram. I mean, they're excited. All of a sudden, they're kind of exciting, and they got a good young coach in Willie Green, and so there's excitement in New Orleans for the first time, really, since Zion got drafted and started missing games, to be honest.
The one thing you want to consider now when looking in a series price, right? Does it make more sense to bet the team on the money line and then roll it over? So I'd have to do the math for you on that one to see if it makes more sense.
They'd be, I think they'd probably be at well, if Kawhi, I don't know, it depends. I'm hearing rumors about Kawhi coming back. We'll see on that. If they were at Minnesota or at the Clippers, I mean, probably a 5 or 6 point dog or 4 point dog, somewhere in there. And they would
sounds about.
And I think against San Antonio at home, they'd be like a 2 or 3 point favorite, I would think.
I think that they could be a favorite. I do think San Antonio gets a ton of love. They always have. And I think a lot of people, as you mentioned, you're giving me the homer perspective. I think a lot of people aren't that high on the Pels. Not only do they not have a winning record, they do have some talent, but we just haven't ever seen a big push from the Pels, right? And this could be one of those years where, hey, they get into the playoffs, they win this play-in series, and we could definitely see them be able to maybe compete with a couple of these other teams in their division.
Yeah, the thing, I mean, I'll stop the Pels and move on to other stuff because I know not everybody loves New Orleans like I do, but it would be fun if they snuck into the 8 and then they played the Suns as the 1 with Monty Williams, the old Pels coach, and Chris Paul, the old New Orleans. And Willie Green was
I want him to play the Suns. I mean,
Willie Green was the Suns assistant last year too, and now he's the Pels coach. It would just be they wouldn't win, but it would be like fun and a successful year and all the
it'd be a fun storyline, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. So when you look at the NBA playoffs, you look at the East right now. The Celtics are the 1. Looks like the Nets could be one of the most hyped up 8s ever. The East still feels kind of wide open. Do you have any teams you particularly standing out? Do you like the Celtics or the Bucks?
I mean, the Celtics look great. The Bucks look great, but that's what they've pretty much done most of the season, right? Mm-hmm. And so I don't fully dive into NBA until college basketball is done. So full disclosure,
Same.
I've only been talking about NBA for about the last week. I did work for NBA TV back in the day, and it was really fun to follow it all season long. But because college football and college basketball and NFL take such a precedence for my bankroll, I kind of give them more of that time. But I have caught quite a few East Coast games being in Florida a ton lately. And the Celtics look great. They look like the team to beat. The Bucks always in the mix. The Sixers is the one that I feel like they get a lot of hate, and I'm not sure where that's coming from. But I think the Heat are going to shock a lot of people. The Heat have been playing real good ball. Not only that, they've been great on the road. So obviously they're probably going to keep the 1 seed spot, so they're going to get a play at home. But if they have to go play that second series on the road, I still feel good about that team being able to do what they've been doing and keep that momentum up. I mean, obviously the craziest thing is how bad the Lakers have been playing.
Oh, that's been great. Look, that's been a lot of Barstool's been having a lot of fun with that, but I have too because a lot of.
How can you not?
Well, the street clothes Anthony Davis thing with what happened with the Pelicans a few years ago, and now the Pelicans have the Lakers picks forever. Top 10 pick this year off of. I mean, I love it. I'm so pumped.
That's where it gets funny because you pay all these millions of dollars for these star players, and then, I mean, yes, they're better than the Houston Rockets, but in my mind, they're the Houston Rockets right now. Like, they're not a good team. They don't play cohesively. They're not well coached. It's just a dumpster fire. And yeah, they have 10 or 15 more wins, so I don't have it off the top of my head, than the Rockets, but they're in the exact same boat. You're eliminated. Enjoy your off season.
Yeah, it's too much fun. So you're going to be getting into the NBA playoffs. A couple other NFL questions while we're at it. On the offseason, not asking about gambling, but just of the big moves, do you think Watson will succeed in Cleveland? Obviously the biggest one, but just as far as other offseasons, does anybody stand out to you with some moves?
Deshaun Watson's going to be interesting in Cleveland, and I kind of thought that whole deal was...
I'm not in love with it like everybody else is either. I got to be honest. I don't know if he's going to do as well on the grass in the cold weather games.
I want to know what he's been doing in his off season. You usually see a lot of guys like on their Instagram. You still see him training, whether it's injury or whatever other reason. Deshaun's been really quiet, and rightfully so, right? He's had some, pretty big allegations against him, and he's probably just been trying to lie as low as possible. But I think the bigger problem in Cleveland that always was Baker's problem was when you have too many egos in the locker room. And I thought OBJ leaving was going to be better for Cleveland. And instead, it ended up being a nice pickup for the Rams. Baker being gone from Cleveland may be helpful. I will go and say that obviously I think Deshaun Watson's more athletic. I'm just not sure his quarterback IQ is as high. And that's where I thought Baker had the athleticism and the IQ, but also he's smaller. That's his first problem. And his other problem was he didn't always have enough time to make the plays he wanted to make. We'll see. Deshaun can do it all, and I'm curious to see. Now, does he rock the boat for me as far as wanting to bet an over-season win total? No, I'm probably still going to be looking to bet the Browns under.
My thing on Watson, and maybe this is a little bit of a weird take, and people make fun of me at Barstool all the time for this because I always talk about games being on domes and in fast track, but I think weather and field conditions matter so much in football. Like, he's made to shine extending plays in Houston on those dome games and fast tracks. Like, how's Watson going to play in these 25-degree, on grass, cold weather AFC North games? I mean, I'm sure he'll still be good, but I think there's going to be a large stat regression. Maybe that's just me.
There are certain public teams, if you will. There are certain teams that get a lot of media love. And those are the teams I look to bet against, right? Because the bookmakers know they're going to get a ton of money, and it's only going to come from one way. If the talking heads on, the major networks all say that they love the Browns and they love Deshaun Watson, they're saying this out of minicamp and that, everybody's just going to go bet them. You know what I mean? You're not going to get those. You're going to get those once in a lifetime. Bengals over 6 wins with Joe Burrow just every so often, right? The bookmakers do such a good job, and as far as the regular season win totals go, that if they shaded a half a game or a full game based on some news, I'm probably going to look to go the other way, because I think that doesn't necessarily hold the value. And that's where it gets tricky, and that's why I said I really like to have all of my information prior to making those bets, because the last thing you want to do is what happened a couple of years ago. Everybody takes the Bucs season win total under, and guess who comes roaring into town? Tom Brady. So you don't want that to happen. Then you got a losing ticket in your pocket before the season even starts.
Well, Kelly, I know you're getting ready to go out in the boat and go fishing. Hope you tear it up. I appreciate you giving us about 15 minutes of your time. Before you leave, the new Thursday long ball prop. Tell us about what y'all are doing with money shots.
Yeah, this is awesome. So we know I don't handicap baseball, but who doesn't love home runs? So Megan and I put together long ball Thursdays, $25 if you bet on any one of the players you want. He could be plus 350, he could be plus 1,000. You bet at least $25 on an anytime home run hitter that's played on Thursdays. And if your bet loses, right, so he doesn't hit a home run, but his team still wins, you get your money back. So that's kind of the interesting thing there. I yesterday took Salvador Perez, was not very happy about that, because I got a text right after I bet it. Everybody said, Kelly, the wind's blowing in Kansas City, and I'm going, damn it. I was looking for a high total, and didn't matter, though, because the Kansas City Royals won, and I got my $25 back.
Awesome. And also money shots. So y'all are right now, aren't y'all 3 times a week? Are y'all still doing the Saturday mornings?
So, no, we're going to give that a little bit of a boot. Megan and I, Megan has a show today. Big Ab's going to fill in for me. They're going to talk baseball futures, exciting stuff. We're going to try to get a regular baseball guest on. I'm going to try to get us a regular guest for NBA, and we're going to do a show 2 days a week. Obviously, we're going to be putting out our picks every single day like we always do, but we're going to be doing 2 days a week. Believe it's going to be Mondays and Fridays, NBA, MLB.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time. Check out Money Shots with Kelly and Megan, and you already got me excited about football season, and it's like 5 months away.
So 118 days, Vinci. I can't wait.
Let's go. All right, thanks to Kelly in Vegas for joining us. I want to thank Dude Wipes for sponsoring today's edition of Pick Central. Dudes, we need to have a serious chat about your bathroom habits. It's time to quit crappy, scratchy toilet paper and switch to Dude Wipes. Dude Wipes are extra-large flushable wipes made with plant-sourced fibers, designed to give your butt a cleaner, more refreshing finish than TP after dropping a deuce. Dude Wipes will change your life. Your butt will thank you, and you'll never look at an empty toilet paper roll the same way again. They also have other great personal care products like Dude Powder and Dude Shower Body Wipes, perfect for other sticky situations. You can find everything at Amazon or Dude Wipes at Walmart and Target nationwide. So go to dudewipes.com and use code PICS20 for 20% off your entire order. That's dudewipes.com, code PICS20 for 20% off your entire order. And look, we have a lot of sponsors and we do a lot of reads, but I love it even more when I use the products and can integrate that. Dude Wipes are freaking amazing. Like, it's a totally different deal because the wet, like, you don't have that dryness feel after you're done. So, huge recommendation. If you hadn't checked out Dude Wipes, it's no joke. It's a serious product, and I am a fan. All right, we're going to get to some calls here on the phone line. I believe, Zaw, it's 1-888-22-STOOL. Is that right?
So 888-STOOL-22.
I got it wrong.
888-STOOL-22.
888-STOOL-22. I was in the ballpark. I said 888-22-STOOL. So
it's also on screen. Check it out.
Well, that helps too. Appreciate that. Call in 1-888-STOOL-22. We're going to get to a couple calls. Let's start with Bubba in Georgia. He wants to talk Major League Baseball. What's up, Bubba? You are on Pick Central.
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going?
Going pretty damn good, man. It's Friday, Masters weekend.
Right.
Baseball season starting. Spring weather's good. A lot to like.
Can't beat it. All right, so I got a couple picks here. First one, I think the Dodgers-Rocky games, I know the total is 11.5. I think that's just too much. I know it's Coors Field, but Walker Buehler throwing. I got under there. And then the other pick, I think there's a lot of value on the Astros. They were dogs yesterday, and they won outright pretty convincingly, and they're dogs again. I just think they're a much better team than the Angels.
Okay, so repeat that. So you like the Astros today, and what was the other one?
Under on the Dodgers Rockies game.
All right, 2 picks today. Appreciate that, Bubba. You're calling from Georgia in a Major League Baseball. Are you a Braves fan or just a fan of the sport?
I'm actually a Red Sox fan. I'm from there. I'm in the Navy. That's why I'm over here. I'm stationed.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, I appreciate your calls and thank you for the pick.
Oh yeah.
Good luck today. Joined by a familiar voice here on Pick Central, Mark and Philly, calling in to talk MLB. Mark, what's up, man? How are you?
What's up, Mincy? I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. Just kind of lone wolfing it today. The boys have certainly stepped up for me more than a time or two when I've been on the road with the Mincy tour. So I'm glad to step in, and I feel like I definitely owe it to the team.
Well, it's a great weekend. It's a great time of the year with opening day, with the Masters. There's so much going on. So I'm going to talk a little bit about baseball, really finally dipping my toe in. I didn't love the board yesterday that much, but I really like it today. I love the Seattle Mariners. I believe they're at plus 100 right now against the Minnesota Twins. I have them around minus 150 or better on the line. Robbie Ray, I think that there's a massive pitching advantage with Robbie Ray over Joe Ryan in this game, and Robbie Ray has had success against the Twins lineup if you look at the BVP numbers. And I like the Mariners over 83.5 wins this year, and I like the Twins under 81.5 wins this year. So this is a perfect matchup of kind of a team that I'm expecting to outperform expectations with a team I'm expecting to underperform expectations.
Awesome. Yeah, so what do you think about the Robbie Ray? He won the Cy Young last year, but I felt like he might have been the least respected Cy Young winner, one of them ever. And then he goes to Seattle from Toronto, much better ballpark to pitch in Seattle. Are you on him this year?
Yeah, I've always been a Robbie Ray guy. He's got electric stuff. He kind of finally put it together last year to the point where I don't even think a believer like me would have believed that he'd be a Cy Young guy. But I think that's kind of where the disrespect comes in because it came so out of nowhere. But I think that he's always had the stuff to be a top-level pitcher, and I think he'll continue to do so. You made a great point there with the better ballpark with Seattle. It is a much, much better ballpark. So I actually do think that there's some value to looking at him for some Cy Young props to repeat.
Awesome. So I know it's a weird time for NBA because there's so many tanking teams and everything's about getting ready for next week, but do you have any thoughts on that this weekend? You're just getting ready for the playoffs?
No, I've officially boycotted betting on NBA. I bet on a couple teams yesterday in the morning, and then players were announced out, and it's a completely different game than when I bet on it in the morning. So I'm boycotting until the play-in game. I'm really focusing on baseball. I will say I think the Suns are still around like plus 100, plus 110, somewhere like that to win the West. And I know that sounds like that's not very juicy. It's not a very, interesting or sexy bet or anything like that. I really just don't see another team in the West that's even taking the Suns 6, let alone beating them. So I think the Suns are really going to roll through that Western Conference.
Yeah, that's kind of – I've been debating, can Curry come back and get hot in Golden State? And the question is, Memphis has been the darlings of the NBA this year, and even when Morant's been out, they've been really good. But, how good are they for the playoffs? Are they, going to make the second round, or can they really push anyone in the Western Conference Finals? What are your thoughts on them?
They're really good. Memphis is really good, and they've shown that without John Morant. But I think they're the second best team in the West, and I think they're very good, but I just don't think they're on that level with Phoenix. I think Phoenix is the most complete team we've seen since the Kevin Durant Warriors. I really do think in terms of their depth, in terms of coaching, in terms of their guard play, you have Ayton at center, you have Mikal Bridges who doesn't miss any games. I think that they are just so complete in every way that Memphis, they have John Morant, they have Triple J, they have Desmond Bane, they've got those guys. I just don't know if they're good enough 3 through 8 in that rotation on that roster to go with a team like Phoenix. They're good enough to be really good and maybe make a run at the Western Conference Final, but I don't know if they can beat Phoenix.
Well, Mark, always appreciate your calls. Well, to sum it up again, repeat, what were your plays again today so we can track them?
Got the Mariners money line today. That's my big play of the day.
Okay. Mariners with Robbie Ray from Mark and Philly. Playboy Marty just popping in the studio. Always great to see a producer. And I know he is a psycho Phoenix Suns fan. His twin brother works for the Suns. And I know you got to be getting excited with playoffs coming up.
Yeah, I liked that call, Mark and Philly. Shout out.
Even money, like the Suns.
Playboy Marty my guy. He's been riding with the Suns obviously forever. So I'm a late adopter here. I have a plus 700 future on them to win the West from the preseason.
No shit.
So obviously not crazy odds, but it's way crazier than they are right now. So I'm really hoping that they ride it out, and I think I'm going to even double down here at plus 110.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's a single person in the world who would turn down Suns plus 700 right now.
No, I don't think so either. Well, Mark, thank you for the call, and good luck with the Mariners today, and I hope you have a good weekend.
Of course, have a good weekend.
I would thank another one of our sponsors of today's show, Body Armor. The big tournament took a lot out of us. Damn right it did, and I'm still recovering from New Orleans. But we are made to stay hydrated throughout with Body Armor Edge. From the makers of our favorite sports drink, Body Armor Edge has 100 milligrams of caffeine and 1,000 milligrams of electrolytes to keep you going through another crazy tournament or even a 162-game Major League Baseball season that never ends. Plus, it's got antioxidants, B vitamins, and no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. It's more than a sports drink. It's Body Armor Edge, and they just came out with 2 new flavors, Strawberry Slam and Watermelon Wave. Recover from the highs and lows of the tournament with our favorite sports drink plus caffeine, Body Armor Edge. You can find Body Armor Edge at 7-Eleven or order on Amazon, or you can find them all over the Barstool Sports office. All right, we're going to take a call, and this is one I'm excited about because I'm bringing back a guy that's been my golf guy for 4 years from mixing it up in Shreveport, and used to come on ESPN Baton Rouge with us to talk about the Masters. My guy Rob from Nashville. What's up, Rob? This feels a little bit like old times, man, but we're on the Barstool platform. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, it's good to be on. It does feel a little bit nostalgic. Nice to be on the horn again with you guys.
Rob, let's get into it. Masters going on. I didn't get to talk to you this week and get your picks before. I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on what's going on and who you liking and not liking so far?
I mean, it's a complete horror show with respect to my picks. I made like 4 different changes to my fantasy lineup at like 7 o'clock in the morning yesterday, and it totally screwed me. If I had left it the way that I was, I probably would have won like every fantasy lineup I was in. But I got in my own dome and started changing things up, and now I'm screwed. Like I had Sing J M, I had Berger. Oh yeah, I had Berger, I had M, and I had Smith, all in one of my lineups. And for some reason, I just didn't believe in myself, and I decided to change it up. And now I'm like dead last in most every single one of my lineups.
So Sanjay M right now tied for the lead with Cameron Smith, who tees off at 130. DJ, Dustin Willett, Neiman, and Scotty Scheffler, new number 1 player in the world, right behind him. The way this leaderboard stacks up, I mean, you would think in theory, Cameron Smith just won the Players' Championship and got second last year. Obviously plays great at Augusta. DJ not sitting in the worst spot, even though he's through 8 today at even par.
Yeah, let's talk about Cameron Smith for a second. Not only did he win the Players' Championship, he hasn't played since the Players' Championship. This is his first tournament back. So he's somehow been able to just carry that momentum all through taking a break into the Masters. He's, quite possibly the best putter on the PGA Tour, which is, one of the hugest reasons we're seeing him at the top of the leaderboard. Obviously a great ball striker too. Dustin Johnson, I have to admit, is surprising me. He's just kind of been on the back burner this year. He hasn't had his A game. In fact, I think I replied to one of your tweets that you had picked him on one of your tweets.
I got DJ, Koepka, and Sam Burns, and DJ's looking like all that's left.
Yeah, and I threw some shade on all 3 of those picks. And
2 out of 3 you weren't wrong.
Yeah, 1 out of 3, you're not doing so bad. DJ is definitely surprised, and he's, I think I was going to say he's struggling a little bit today. I think everybody's going to struggle today. It's got that west-southwest wind, which means 10, 11, and 12 are all going to be, particularly 11 and 12 are going to be dead into the wind. And it's cold down there too. In fact, my plan was to wake up and drive down there for my yearly trip. And I just looked at the weather and how chilly it was. And I'm like, do I want to spend 12 hours in a car to spend 5 hours on a golf course on one of my days off? And based on the weather, I decided not to. That weather is the reason why today's going to be crazy. You're going to want to keep an eye on the leaderboard today because there's going to be some movement. And I don't think it's going to be in a positive direction for a lot of people.
Last thing I got for you, Tiger Woods, 1 under yesterday. Didn't get to talk to you about, my instincts on him, he ain't playing if he doesn't think he can compete. Like, Tiger's not a guy that's going to go out there like and embarrass himself, I don't think. But, when it comes to the weekend and the third and fourth day of walking this course and all that stuff, what do you expect in the next few days?
Yeah, so you hit the nail on the head. I mean, out of his own mouth, he always says when he does these, miraculous comebacks of his, his own quotes out of his own mouth are, "I'm not going to play unless I think I can win." Look at him. I mean, he's right in the mix. Now, when you start talking about the 3 days of walking on that leg, he admittedly was sore yesterday, and that was only after day one. And listen, you're not walking a course in Florida here. Augusta is a very, very hilly golf course. And so it's just a tough golf course to walk. So I'm really interested to see how he plays today. Obviously, it's going to speak volumes for the rest of the weekend. I think if anybody goes out there today and shoots even par, it's a great score. Again, based on the temperature, based on the wind. And then when you throw that injury into the mix, if he can get through today, I set the line at 2 over. I think that would be a great, great score for him today.
Awesome. All right. Well, Rob, appreciate your call. Thanks for, now you've come on mixing up with Mets, ESPN Baton Rouge, and Barstool Pick Central doing golf talk. So we've hit the trifecta through the years. Appreciate you, bud.
We sure have. Thanks so much for having me on. I look forward to doing it again.
All right, we're going to get to picks for today, and then we'll touch with Playboy Marty. We'll see if we get another call. We've got a few minutes left. My picks for today, first of all, people are asking me, I'm getting a lot of questions. I've been doing some college baseball content, kind of held it back because I was doing Hawks for the Cause and Final Four in New Orleans and everything with that. Was going to really crank it up next week after the Masters is over. Still doing a little bit, but next week I'm going to start coming with way more college baseball picks, maybe some Twitter spaces, some blogs. We're going to explore some stuff. I'm going to get back on the road and hit that. People are asking me all about that. All right, so let's get to the picks for today. I'm taking the Pelicans plus 350 to make the playoffs. Shout out Playboy Marty. It was plus 370 yesterday. He actually showed this to me and got me on it. I took the Cavs plus 8.5 and the Pistons plus 4.5 as underdogs. I got the Jazz by 2.5 at home over the Suns, just because I still question what the Suns are playing for right now.
Yep.
And then I went over 11.5 in Ole Miss Bama in Oxford. Ole Miss is the pitching staff. The guy that was supposed to be the Friday night starter is pitching midweek. I have some questions about the pitching staff, so I like the over. At Swayze, all right, I guess we can run through we'll flash them on the screen. I guess all our other guys' picks with everybody being out today. Marty, what's you got any thoughts on anything in your mind?
Any plays right now? I'm just getting into gear for NBA playoffs. Got a few futures I kind of like. Okay. I think I'm taking, staying true to Barstool, I think I'm taking Boston to win the East. I think I got it at plus 600, something like that right now. I think I'm going to ride with that.
Okay.
Yeah,
plus 600.
Don't quote me on that. I don't know exactly what it is right now, but that's the one I'm eyeing. I feel like Milwaukee is probably the better play, but it's obviously it's not high enough. I think Boston's the good reach there, and honestly for title, and I'm a huge Suns fan, I'll never deny that, but you have a chance to get the Nets at plus 700, who have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. I know they got a tough road, but that's there. And right now on Barstool Sportsbook, Golden State's plus 900, and I mean, again, there's problems with that team. They're not near as balanced as the Suns and all that, but you got Steph Curry 9-1.
What's going on with this injury situation? They're just holding him out till playoffs, you think?
Yeah, but he's going to play in the playoffs.
How's Clay been doing?
Clay's been all right. He's carrying him a little bit. Yeah, they're. Again, yeah, that's the reason they're 9-1 because you don't know exactly.
I'm screw it. I'm adding the Golden State 9-1 because I need a rooting. I like the Suns.
Come on,
no, but it's just the 9-1. What are the Suns doing it all right now? 250.
I think it's 275.
Yeah, no, I need a rooting interest for the playoffs. And I really love Steph Curry. I just enjoy watching him play.
I really am not looking forward to potentially playing him in a playoff series.
So there's Golden State. What are you looking at that? Are they the 4 or the 5 or no?
Right now in the standings, I believe they're the 4. Yeah, because Dallas is 3.
So we could have a second rounder.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, I'm pulling for just on the homer thing. I talked about it earlier. I mean, the Pels got to win a couple, but I would love a Suns Pels first round, and I don't think the Pels could win. I just think it would be really fun with the Willie Green being a former assistant, Monty, former Pels coach, Chris Paul, former NOLA. There's just a lot of fun ties that would just make that like a really cool thing.
Oh, it'd be incredible. Like, I mean, just Monty being back, CP being back there. There's not really that much ill will in New Orleans towards either of them. Weirdly, there used to be a lot of Chris Paul stuff, but that's kind of died down. So I think like New Orleans, I mean, again, your opponents, but like I think that would be like a nice moment in New Orleans sports, weirdly.
Yeah, it would be a lot of fun for sure. Trying to think. So Yak going to be up next. You got any fun weekend plans or anything? Billy Joel tonight.
I haven't
right?
seen Billy Joel at the Garden tonight. I'm stoked, dude.
There's like this hilarious thing that's like the Billy Joel versus Fish, who really owns the Garden, like rivalry thing.
Because they do New Year's, right?
Yeah, and they're playing 4 nights. Their first show is 420, by the way. How wild is that going to be? A Fish at the Garden, but they're playing 420 through 423 there. But it's like a funny thing between the fan bases, like who's the true owner of Madison Square Garden between Fish and Billy Joel. And I guess most locals would say Billy Joel unless you're in the jam band world.
Yeah, we'll find out. If he doesn't play Summer Highland Falls, we're walking out.
Okay. Well, you have fun tonight at that. We got the Yak up next. I'm going to D.C. to a Masters party on Sunday with a high school friend of mine. I'm looking forward to watching a good bet of Masters all weekend. But it's just like the chain.
Quick shout out to me for having Cameron Smith to win it all.
Yeah, that is a good
Quick shout out.
Quick shout out for sure. Did you get what do you have, 16 to 1?
Yeah. Actually, 18.
18 to 1.
Yeah.
Not a bad price. Well, he's done. And he got second the COVID year, so he's already got the experience. He's coming off. You said before to me yesterday, the Players Championship winner gets momentum.
There's a history of the Players Champion playing well.
Did Adam Scott do that once? I feel like.
I'm sure he had.
Yeah.
He's won the Players before. Adam Scott did. And
yeah, I think he won that in the Masters. Well, a bunch of people to thank for today. Thanks to Tommy Smokes and Hubs and Kelly Vegas and Playboy Morty. As always, TJ and our crew, they kill it every day. We couldn't do it without them. Stay tuned. The Yak is up next.